Welcome to Opinion Nation.
And we stand today on the
Alright, sorry for the technical difficulties. We are back, and I'm still here with Lou, and Rick is still probably struggling to move his couch. But in the meantime, we are just been talking about the Republican Party, their debate, and how it, was a blunder. But the next clip I wanted to play, we were just talking about Jeb and Marco Rubio, and how poor that was. So now let's go, and if this clip ever loads, we're going to talk about Ted Cruz. So, for whatever reason, this clip is not loading. So, Lou, why don't you just tell us what you thought about Ted Cruz in the interim?
I thought he was passionate, and I thought that was great. And I think that, he was doing, I was on Hammy's show the other night. He was talking about, he was doing a little bit of that Newt Gingrich thing where, but in the end wasn't that smart for Newt. So, I mean, it's been kind of a pattern to blame the media, but the media didn't have to take it and run with it the way that they did. But I thought he was really passionate about it, and he hit a nerve. And I think that everybody's figured out at this point that nerve is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is true, though. None of the questions that were asked were about policy questions. The fact that Mike Huckabee had to admit that he was wearing a Donald Trump tie just goes to show how erroneous the conversation has become on the debate stage. I mean, we have so many problems in this country, from the debt to the debt ceiling to healthcare. Everything's a mess. Foreign policy is a mess. The economy's a mess. But we're talking about fantasy football, as Chris Christie put it. Now, I mean, to be in all honesty, Chris Christie actually kind of got by on that one, because the trading on fantasy football online is actually a billion-dollar industry, which probably could use some regulating, because as we've seen, there has been some insider trading on it.
Well, I'm sure a lot of it is run out of New Jersey too.
I bet. I bet it is. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm trying to get that clip back. I don't really know what happened. Here we go. Now let's see if it loads this time. And it looks like it's still not. See, I don't understand why I am so bad with tech stuff. I'm supposed to be a millennial. My internet's supposed to be fast and perfect and work like a charm, but it never does.
I don't know what to tell you, except that my experience has been that all things technical are learned over time, regardless. So you can only know so much at a young age. I'm just saying. Yeah,
you're right. All right. Well, it looks like this clip is non-responsive, actually, so it wasn't even my fault. But another topic that I actually wanted to talk about was climate change. You see, this is where Rick plays some annoying clips about me still talking or whatever.
Are you still talking?
Yeah, that one. But did you watch the little kids debate by any chance? By little kids, I mean the morning?
The happy hour debate, the kids table, they call it. I did not this time, because I am a little bit annoyed that we still have two debates, and that we still have so many people in the race that I don't know if you want to get me started on this, because it's just like, all right, can you guys just get your head together, and some people stay in and some people get out, and let's move on.
Yeah, but what I was pointing at here, and I'll let you in because you didn't see it, but George Pataki and Lindsey Graham both came out. I mean, Lindsey Graham's going to come out, but they came out on a different issue, that climate change is real and that it's caused by man and we need to stop it. And then Chris Christie was asked that question about climate change, and he See, this is where I think the Republican Party really needs to go. Stop denying climate change and just figure out different ways to solve the problem. And I guarantee you, if Republicans come out with a platform, a business-oriented platform on how we can get rid of our fossil fuel dependency and embrace clean energy while also, moving innovation in the economy forward, they will stop losing and stop looking like the party of, that's portrayed by the media as the dummies. When in all reality, they're largely not. But that just impressed me, that we had 3 Republicans talk about climate change, and they didn't say, I'm not a scientist, I'm not this or that. And it looked like a sign of hope for me, at least, from the liberal point of view.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's it's the typical, and I know you're not going to like this, Bryce, but it's the typical, if you don't agree with the science, then you're not looking at the science argument from the left, and, we're used to it, whatever, but, climate happens, and climate change happens over thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of years, and it always has. And the climatology and climatologists are, in scientific terms, a relatively new science. And the arguments that they have, I've done disasters for a living. I know what they look like, but I know what they look like for hundreds of years. And I know what it means like in recorded history. In recorded history in weather terms, do you have any idea how long that really is, especially when you're talking about hurricanes and tornadoes and everything? That's extremely short in paleological time. So, this is a conversation it's one of those fist fights that I step back from and watch people throw punches and go, ding, 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 ding. I see who's winning.
So even if, let's just say hypothetically, I disagree, but let's just say you are right here. Irregardless, the American people can't breathe the air that they breathe in China, and we can't, drink fracking solution water. We still need to take care of the environment, and that needs to be of the utmost importance. And I think that is where Republicans have strayed away, is that we need to embrace, coal and oil and that stuff. But in all reality, we can't live in a world where we have oil spills and explosions on trains and just destroy our resources and environment the way we are.
No, and that's just like the Second Amendment issue. It's not the people following the rules that are the problem. It's the people that break the rules that are the problem. So it's not about having more rules. It's about enforcing the rules that we have.
Absolutely. I mean, to a large extent. And in some cases, I think we need some more rules for the environment. But the point is that Republicans, I think, on the national scale, have been straying away and forgot the difference between believing in climate change and believing in being an environmentalist. And Republicans, for the large part, championed the environmentalist movement. We had Bush, H.W. Bush, killed acid rain, the issue of that. We had Richard Nixon, who by and far is one of the greatest environmentalist presidents of all time, and Teddy Roosevelt. So Republicans have really been the champions of the environmentalist movement.
Do you mind if I put something that you just said in context for you a little bit? That, I realize you were you were much younger when it happened. But the energy bill and you called George W. Bush a champion of environmentalism, the energy bill that he originally sent to Congress in his first 2 years. It might have been in his first 6 months. I don't recall exactly when he actually got it to Congress, because he tried to negotiate with them before he ever sent them a bill. But it was a Democrat Congress. It must have been his third year. So they weren't, really accepting of his ideas on the environment. And that was where the tables turned. And all of a sudden, Republicans really became the villain when it came to environmentalism. So just from my perspective, to put that in context for you just a little bit.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, actually. That sheds a lot of light on it.
That was a great energy bill. You should go back and read that and see what was in it, because it actually was a good balance between the two sides.
I will look into it. Do you know what year it was from?
Well, it was, let's see, he was it was probably 2003. I know it was, but it was in his first term.
All right, I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah.
And his father, like I said, did the whole acid rain thing. Mm-hmm. So we definitely see that the Republicans have moved more on the environmentalist issue, and now we have Obama with his clean power plan, which I agree with. I think we really do need to do away with coal. But to get back to the point about the Republican Party, I think the leadership in the party is starting to see the contrast once again between being an environmentalist and believing in climate change, and that they're two very different things.
I think that you're right, and I didn't mean to. But the setup is really interesting, right? So, and they do this a lot, and I think that overall, it's their big mistake. When they're vilified, they play the villain instead of the hero, and I think that what you've seen on this issue is that that they've finally become comfortable with their space of knowing what they believe and what they think, or what they think can be done about what people believe, and they're comfortable, but it takes them too long to get from villain to comfortable, from villain to hero. And it's just, you can see it coming. I don't understand why they're not planning for it. That's frustrating for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think you said it pretty perfectly. They play the part of the villain rather than, adapting, I would say. And I don't mean adapt as in like they should start pandering, but I mean adapt in the sense that it becomes that they are affecting other issues, such as the environment, rather than focusing on, all right, well, we don't believe in climate change, but we still need to be stewards of the planet. Which I think has become lumped, and I think now with Chris Christie, with Lindsey Graham, with George Pataki, I at least saw some progress in their statements, and especially in Chris Christie's, he gave the example that while California and Arizona lead the way in solar panels as first and second, the state that comes in third is New Jersey, and they did it through private contracting and business. Now, what he doesn't tell you is, and I'm from New Jersey, so I know this, he signed a contract with a group called Petrosolar. One of their solar panels is actually on my block. They put them all over the telephone poles throughout New Jersey, and they generate enough energy for about a town of 10,000, which is it's very impressive, and it's a great energy initiative. What they don't tell you is that the head of Petrosolar, whose name escapes me, actually was one of the biggest funders to the Christie campaign. So this all goes back to campaign finance reform, which is a pretty scary thing. I mean, I guess this worked out for the better of, clean energy or whatever, but the sheer principle that he helped to fund Christie's campaign just goes to show how corrupt the system is. Mm-hmm. Kind of sick.
Yeah, it's sick and twisted, and I was one of not too many people that were fortunate enough or unlucky enough or whatever to learn that at a fairly young age. But politics is crazy business all the way around, and there's a lot of stuff like that. It just goes on and on.
Absolutely. I once heard the statement, I forget who said it, you won't get money out of politics till you get politics out of money. So essentially, if we take the power away from the politicians to control so much money, then you'll never get the money out of politics. I don't know if I agree with that, though. What do you think about that statement?
I think that goes right back to what you were saying before about Republicans not being able, or what we were saying before about Republicans not being able to connect the dots for people, because that's what smaller government is about. You will not get money out of politics or politics out of money until we have smaller government, fewer regulations. As long as businesses are regulated, they have a vested interest in trying to manipulate and control the government.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I really realized, especially in this election campaigns, as I've been reading a lot about each of the candidates, and this is one of my more conservative ideas, is that it is outrageous that we have such a high corporate tax. And the amount of regulations we have really stumps small business. And that is the backbone of this country, is small businesses. But for whatever reason, we don't champion the small business. And things like Obamacare hurt small businesses. And I don't understand, and I'm a liberal saying this, Obamacare to me seems to be just another piece of legislation written by big businesses to benefit the very, very wealthy. I mean, and I'm a liberal saying that.
Well, look at the results of it. We have fewer insurance companies that are bigger than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since it was written. So, I mean, sometimes you can speculate on what the agenda behind a legislation is, but look at the result of it and you can pretty much figure it out. Sometimes it doesn't result in what it was meant to result in, but I mean, this one seems pretty clearly to be tied to the end result, and it's.
I mean, I love, and I go back to this. I say it in a lot of episodes. Donald Trump gave a statement. Now, I mean, he says a lot of things. I don't know if this is official policy. Maybe it was an idea he was throwing around. I don't really know. But he said that his ideal healthcare system would be total free market, no insurance companies for the very wealthy, down to the middle class. And then for the lower class, the poor, you have socialized, single-payer healthcare. That way, you're going to have nobody fall through the cracks. Everyone will get insured. Insurance costs will drop dramatically. I mean, if we look at Thailand, in Thailand, they have some of the lowest medical costs for the most advanced medical treatment. One of the biggest reasons people are going to Thailand is medical tourism. In fact, what's his name? From the show 30 Days, Morgan Spurlock, actually. I recommend you watch it. You can probably find it on YouTube. Morgan Spurlock goes to Thailand to do a whole episode on medical tourism. It's very interesting, and I think it would work in America very well. I mean, it incentivizes the free market. We get rid of the crony capitalist insurance companies. Well, what do you think?
I think getting rid of crony capitalism is good, just period. The strongest we ever are and the best we ever are is when we have a variety. You're not going to disagree with me about this, I know. A variety of different sizes of business, different stages of business. People are constantly starting businesses and growing businesses, but that doesn't mean... I mean, Ma Belle was broken up how many years ago? I mean, the antitrust laws are how old? But yet we keep recreating the system that builds them back up again. AT&T is a great example. Break them up, it builds back. Break it up, it builds back. Well, it's probably because you're enabling that at the top. So Washington, yeah. It's like, and you don't remember this, but way back in the day, there was this game for kids it was cardboard, and it had magnetic shavings in it, and you would take a little metal stick and draw faces on the man with it, and then you'd shake it up, and so you'd bring them all back. Yeah, so you bring it all back together, and you shake it up and break them up, and then bring it on. That's what it reminds me of. It's like some crazy game. Break it up. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch, government Etch-a-Sketch.
That's actually good. Government Etch-a-Sketch, or the government monopoly Etch-a-Sketch. I like that. And it's terrible. And you know what the worst one is? Government sponsored utility companies. That is terrible. In New Jersey, we have a primary one called PSE&G. And if you think about it, it's a government-run natural monopoly. And now I think with something like energy, where we live in the 21st century, we should be allowed to put solar panels on our house and say, all right, this is how we're going to get our energy, this is how we're going to get our energy, and not worry about them. We should be able to live off the grid if we want. And, I mean, the technology's coming around. Tesla just invented that battery that would allow solar panels to store a ton of energy that could be used for solely your house. Because right now you have to sell that energy back to the utility company who sells it back to you. Costs are risen because of this. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, you can't do a lot of things in New Jersey that people in other parts of the country can do.
That's
I'm sorry. That's a blue state, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It is terrible. It's awful. What was it? Chris Christie said, even in New Jersey, that's considered rude. That was one of the best lines of the night.
I loved it. But I'm going to say on the air right now, including you, Bryce, that the people that I know from New Jersey are some of the nicest people in the world. My in-laws are from New Jersey. I love people from New Jersey. Now, I know a few that maybe not, but I know a few from everywhere that maybe not. But I know some really nice people. Everybody in New Jersey is not rude, but that was one of the funniest lines of the debate. I love that. Even in New Jersey, that's considered rude.
That was a great line. There were a lot of good lines. Mm-hmm. I liked when Mike Huckabee, they never gave him time to speak at all.
Poor guy.
And quite frankly, I think it would be a better option if he just dropped out, because he takes a lot of time away from other candidates. Because he's just one of those candidates who I feel, I really don't think his following will ever get big enough. He's ran so many times. He's America. He's like a Hillary.
He's too blue for the climate, I think. The climate on the right or in the Republican Party on the conservative side is just not. He's too blue for it right now. There could have been a time for Chris Christie, but this isn't it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I would like to honestly see where Chris Christie goes, though. I think he'll go far if he stays in. I think he'll be disliked, but I think he can go far. What do you think about John Kasich?
I've never been more disappointed in anyone in my entire life, and that's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the campaign that he's running. It's his policy positions. It's who he was. Oh my God, was it 20 years ago now versus who he is today? Never been so disappointed in anyone in my entire life.
To be quite honest, he appears to be more moderate, though. And I think
maybe that's it.
What?
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I'm so disappointed in him. Well, one thing is that he was someone who, when he was in the House with Newt Gingrich, really pushed the idea of term limits. Have you heard him say anything about that in this campaign?
No, I actually haven't. Have you?
He actually resigned his congressional seat at the point, after that vote failed to prove a point, along with a few other congressmen. Some people say it wasn't so much to prove a point. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But regardless, gave a lot of people a lot of hope that he's just completely dashed from my perspective.
Now, do you believe in term limits? That's a great question, actually. That's always a good topic.
I believe in term limits for every single person that works for government. Except for our military, they should be able to do whatever they want to do for as long as they want to do it.
Yeah. I mean...
Call me a neocon. People are going to call me a neocon for that one, I'm sure. Call me a neocon, but that's what I believe.
No, I don't know if I agree with term limits in the sense that... what about those people who are writing legislation? They do their job really well. I can see it for some who are abusers of the system.
You know what? If you come back in 20 years and tell me that you still believe that, I'll buy you a steak and lobster dinner.
All right, I'll take you up on that offer.
Okay. Yeah, in 20 years, if you still believe that, steak and lobster for you, man.
All right. I hope this goes on the record. I'm taking Lou up on that offer.
It's on radio. It is saved for posterity forever. Rick, never delete this podcast.
Rick's busy probably throwing out his back, moving a couch still.
Knock wood. Don't say that. I just threw salt over my shoulder.
No, it's always weird. Whenever I don't do my shows on Saturdays, whether I'm doing something school related or busy or whatever, it's always an empty gap when I don't see Rick.
Yeah. Rick's a heck of a guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He's a heck of a guy.
So, back to just our conversation. I guess we can go from candidates to candidates. And let's talk about, I guess real quick, because the show's getting into the phase where we start winding down at that 12 o'clock mark. So, I guess we can go down the aisles, I guess, and we can go over each candidate, and I want maybe a sentence on how you think their campaign's going to go and what you think of them.
Okay.
So, I'm going to try to start with, all right, well, we kind of heard you already on John Kasich, but we're just going to go over it again. John Kasich.
Short-lived.
Short-lived. All right. Rand Paul.
Could go either way, depending on who drops out.
All right, I'm going to ask for an expansion on that, because that one I'm real curious about.
So if the right people dropped out, he did the right thing with his campaign, it could pick up.
Okay.
He hasn't called me for consulting yet. Maybe he will.
Mike Huckabee.
He'll drop out at some point, but people will still love him, and they'll forever love him.
What is it about him that makes him so loved?
He's a lovable guy. I mean, if you've watched his show, and the people that are on that they like to call the evangelical right, which is a total misnomer from my perspective, but just going along with the crowd, they love him because he's a preacher and he's a politician that's not so much a politician, and I think they see him as a preacher first, and I think that's why they love him, and that's okay.
That is okay. I mean, look, I don't disagree. I don't agree with him. Probably, I don't agree with him on just about everything. But,
I disagree with him a lot myself. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I must say is he gives off that warm grandpa feeling.
Yes.
I don't know if that's very a very powerful presidential feeling, but it's a good quality, and I'm glad somebody's on that stage that has that.
Yeah.
It brings people together on that stage.
Yeah, he did a good job of that in the debate, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz could go all the way.
Really?
I think, yeah. I do. I think, and part of that is that, Bryce, you have to watch how much better people get at certain things in the early months. And they'll just get better and better and better and better at him. And his TV presentation is getting better, and I think that is going to have a lot to do with it. His in-person is powerful, and his
I am going to take your steak and lobster dinner to raise you to 2 steak and lobster dinners if that happens.
I said he could go all the way. I didn't say he was. I said he could.
All right, Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio could go all the way.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, Marco Rubio could go all the way, and everything depends on so much at this point because it's early.
He's that young face.
He is. He's a great face. He could be. My guess is he'll be on the ticket either way.
Yeah, I would believe that.
Yeah.
All right, Ben Carson.
Oh man, I would just love to see him do something. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that he's mean enough to get this particular, to win this race, to win the presidency. But I would love to see him somewhere in leadership in our government. I think it would be great for America.
I think he's a good guy. I just think he's way too boring, and people want. Like what they say with Hillary, she's not exciting. People want excitement when they're listening to their leader. They want to be inspired.
Yeah, guess what? We voted for excitement, in the last 2 elections, and it didn't work out so well. Right. I'm raising my hand for boring. I would love to have boring.
Touche. You got me there. All right, Chris Christie.
He doesn't have a chance, and I think that the field will be better off when he realizes it.
I'm halfway there. I'm halfway there with you.
Yeah.
All right, Jeb Bush.
Not another Bush. And he's he's not going to. It's depending on what happens with. He's going to be tied to another question you're going to ask me, so keep going, and I'll answer that then.
All right, Donald Trump.
There you go. Depending on what happens with Donald, as support wanes away from him, it is not going to Jeb. That's the last place it's going to go. Almost everybody else in the race, as they drop out, their support is not going to go to Jeb. I can't think of maybe John Kasich, and where is he in the polls? Is he even registering anymore? That any support from people that fall off, it's not going to get. And Donald, I can't figure out what Donald's purpose is, but the danger with Donald is that he can pretty much get anything done when he sets his mind to it. So I have no clue what's going to happen with the Donald.
Would you want to see a Donald Trump presidency?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't. I might like to see a Donald Trump Secretary of Commerce. That might be fun.
That would be interesting, and he would never get out of the news. Oh, we forgot one. Carly Fiorina.
I love Carly. I absolutely love Carly. I'd love to see her on the ticket. I think that she is calculated and smart, and we're not hearing too much from her right now because of that. She reminds me more of Reagan than anybody I've seen in years.
Well, I read a statistic. I think it was from NBC. It was one of the news stations. Mm-hmm. That said 92% of the statistics or facts that she said were false.
92% of her statistics were... Okay, I have a statistic from NBC that 92% of the statistics that she used for... Okay, I'm sorry. I that's the irony there is just rich. And it's not that I don't believe it, and it's not that I'm trying to discount it, but it's just the irony of our statistics on her statistics or that her statistics are wrong. And having worked on, and I'm guessing they were talking about the HP statistics, and having worked in corporate communications, I know how those numbers get crunched, and I know how they get put together, and they're always very well sourced as to how, they have to be, from public affairs. They're very well sourced and they're very well put together, but then the media tries to crunch the numbers and they don't crunch them the same way. My advice to anybody who's listening is if you're crunching corporate statistics, just go ahead and do it in the way that the media is going to do it, and don't spin it because it's just not even worth it. But with that said, my guess would be that that's what was going on. But regardless, when this kind of stuff comes up, and the little back and forth that she had about, the boardroom and the people in the boardroom and stuff like that with regards to HP, it's a distraction from the issues that they're running on. It's a distraction from the positions that they have or don't have, and it's unproductive. It is not productive in a political campaign. Typically, you see I've just seen too many times people be discounted for stupid reasons that ended up not being true, like Harry Reid said on the floor of the Senate that Mitt Romney didn't pay taxes. Nothing ever happened to Harry Reid. His bad behavior was rewarded. Nobody ever corrected the record, or barely corrected the record. Most people still think that's true, and it was uncategorically not true. So crap like that happens. And I just shake my head and roll my eyes and go, all right, ask me in November. So I actually said to somebody on Twitter, I don't know who I want. I have no clue. You guys pick somebody and I'll vote for them.
All right, my last question for you is, if you had to vote for a Democrat, who is it going to be?
You're pulling my leg now. No, there's not one.
You have to pick one. Just for this, they're the only ones running. You got to pick one. Who are you gonna?
I think I've got a cousin in Georgia that is a Democrat that I might vote for if I was in his state and he was in my district, and that's that's it. I would vote for my cousin, maybe.
Oh, all right. That was a good way to end this show, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
So, Once again, I just wanted to apologize for the technical difficulties we had midway through the show, but above all, this was a wonderful show. Lou, I'm so glad you could join us this week.
Great to be here.
And next week, we'll have some more fun, I guess, and hopefully Rick will be back. Rick, I hope your move is going swell, and I hope your new house is warm, and you're having a good time there. So, all right, everyone, that's our show for today. I'm Bryce Robbins. Lou, one more time, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can find me Thursday nights, 8 o'clock, right here on K98 Talk for whom the bell tolls. And you can also find me Sunday, tomorrow at 3 p.m. with Dr. Randy Arrington, where we do a little thing called office hours. That's lots of fun.
All right. So there's Lou. You can find me at Robbins Bryce. I'm always available on Twitter. And, that's all. All right, everyone. Have a great week. My name is Bryce Robbins, and we'll see you next Saturday. Have a good one, everyone.
Have a great weekend.
Welcome to Opinion Nation.
And we stand today on the edge of a new frontier.
There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
What makes us Americans.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.